Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Miguel back again with another video, and today I have the Galaxy Z Fold 6 in my hands. Now, this phone has been rumored to bring some big updates, and there was rumored all year round that there was going to be a massive redesign for it. Now, there have been some changes in the design, slightly changes, and I would say in the right direction, but not the changes that we were looking for. And I would say that the biggest change that we did see is actually the increase in pricing. And it just makes me think back when the Fold, the original Fold came out, and people were like, okay, this is gonna get cheaper with time, but actually every year it starts to get more expensive. And the disappointing part is that, you know, there are changes. Yes, obviously there's going to be changes, but they're not significant in a way that they start justifying the price. And then you start thinking about whether you should go ahead and buy a foldable device, and this now starts at around $1,900, which is $100 more than last year's Galaxy Z Fold 5. So what are the changes? They're welcome changes. I'm not complaining about that, but does it really justify it? And are we at a point where now we can consider buying a foldable phone over a regular, let's say a Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, which is a proper flagship phone, has probably one of the best cameras out there, has one of the best displays out there, has one of the best performances out there as compared to this one. So this is going to be more of a first impressions. This is not really a deep dive into the phone. So let's go ahead and look at it. So first of all, one of the things that I noticed is that it now has a more of a squarish design, which is welcome. I actually really like the way that this looks this time. I was kind of tired, and I think a lot of people were kind of getting tired of the curved design. I think this just fits better in the hand. It feels better. It's more compact. So it is a welcome change. I also noticed that when you open up the phone, it now almost is a perfect square. Almost. It's not really perfect, but it's almost kind of like a perfect square. One of the main changes I would say that they had this year was slightly bigger outer display, and they did that to obviously make it a little bit more useful. I think it's still a little bit narrow. It still needs to be a little bit wider, and one of the rumors that we've been hearing about was that this time Samsung was going to change the aspect ratio, where it was going to kind of follow into the steps of the Pixel, where it had that narrower and wider aspect ratio, and I think that would have been a little bit, you know, somewhat welcomed. This, I can't really tell how much of a difference there is, and I'll tell you guys, it's now the display measures from 6.2 inches to 6.3 inches, so it's 0.1 of an inch of a difference, and that's really not too noticeable. They did decrease the bezels in support of that, and I think that now having the squarish body kind of also gives you a little bit more screen real estate, but that's pretty much it. On the inside, the sides is still pretty much the same. There are no changes to it. One big difference that they have made now this time on the brightness side is that it goes up to 2600 nits of peak brightness as compared to the Galaxy Z Fold 5, which if I'm not wrong, I don't remember exactly, but I think it was 1300 or 1600 nits of peak brightness. So there's a massive, significant change in that. Another change is that it's a little bit thinner now. So I believe last year's Galaxy Z Fold 5 was in the unfolded state, I think it was 6.1 millimeters thick. This is now 5.6 millimeters thick. So overall, it kind of does make the phone a little bit noticeably thinner, and it is better to hold in the hands. It is still thick, obviously, because you have two screens, so obviously that's gonna happen there. When it comes to the crease, that's still pretty much noticeable, and I don't expect this to go away, but I think there's just a slight difference where it's a little bit less noticeable this year, at least when you're directly looking at it. So obviously if I put it up against a reflection, the crease is very clear in that case, but apart from that, just looking at it, it doesn't seem to be too noticeable. One thing that I immediately noticed when I picked up the phone was that it's actually light now. So it's not bulky like last year. So this now weighs at 239 grams as opposed to last year's 253 grams. There's also another improvement, which, as I said, these changes are welcome. Like, I'm not complaining against that. My only complaint here is that it doesn't really justify the pricing. This year, now the Galaxy Z Fold 6 has IP48 dust and water resistance, and as opposed to last year, which had IPX8. And the difference there is that when it comes to water resistance, it's pretty much the same. There's no difference there. But the 4 now this time means that it is dust resistant, but not really particularly to very fine dust. If it's dust particles measuring up to 1 millimeter, then it's going to be protected against that. If it's anything smaller than that, then this is not really going to be protected. So you have to keep in mind that as well, especially when you're taking this to the beach or somewhere where there's a lot of sand or dust, you might want to be careful. Camera-wise, the camera module is slightly different design-wise, but the setup is pretty much the same. And apart from one camera, which is the ultra-wide camera, now Samsung has put in a new 12 megapixel ultra-wide camera, which they claim is gonna improve the lighting and performance in low light as well. The front camera, the under display camera, is still pretty much the same. There is no difference there. It still has 120 hertz of refresh rate, but one difference here that we now see in pretty much all upcoming Galaxy or Samsung phones is Galaxy AI, which is the newest thing that Samsung is kind of playing with. And because of that, you now have that integrated with new phones, including here, which is actually in the settings. You can go ahead and take a look at it. So you have things like call assist, chat assist, note assist, photo assist, drawing assist, and photo ambient wallpapers. And photo ambient wallpapers are based on basically your time and weather, which are going to change depending on how it is outside. They're going to kind of match yours. And the rest, you kind of know what it is. Call assist, which is going to help you with translations and live translations, or the interpreting function, which is going to also pretty much do the same thing, or it can live translate things on the go. Battery wise, there's also no changes at all. It's the exact same battery, it's the exact same charging as well. I actually had this on a fast charger, 60-watt fast charger, and in half an hour it just went up by maybe 5 to 10%. So, you know, that's a little bit disappointing to see. You know, considering that this is a phone that's nearly touching $2,000, is crazy to see that you don't have basic features like that. But again, I mean, I don't want to complain. I actually really this time tried to like this phone because I like the way that it looks. So it's attractive. I also like the colors. This is sort of like that grayish pastel type of color, which is really attractive. And I'm trying so hard to like this phone, but again, I mean, considering the price point, you just probably don't want to buy this right now. Thinking about the limitations that a foldable has, you then immediately want to spend half of this amount towards something like the Galaxy S24 Ultra, which is a proper flagship and will do way more than what a foldable does. And that's pretty much been my argument every single time that I reviewed a foldable. But this was my first impressions of the Galaxy Z Fold 6. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But I have a question for you guys. Do you think that Samsung has settled? Do you think that this is the best that they can do? Or do you think that there's going to be a point in time where foldables are going to be fully replacing flagship devices? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.